Hey everybody, it's me, the Einstein of Wall Street. What an amazing time to be alive. We are at the corner of Broad Street and Wall Street. This is where it happened. Look, that's where George Washington was inaugurated. I went to high school with that guy. I was here on that day. The New York Stock Exchange, the most iconic, greatest financial institution in the world. This is the greatest time to be alive in this market at this time. Every kind of adjective I could use to describe exuberance, irrational exuberance, phenomenon, revolution, renaissance, anything you could say that's like over the top is the greatest words to describe what's happening in the marketplace today. I'm here with my new best friend, Dan Ives, #1 tech analyst in the world, in my opinion, from Wedbush. We are collaborating on fun, fashion, food, finance, and everything about tech, trying to break all the barriers and the ceiling about the sort of the crusty Wall Street guy who really cannot access the younger new investor, which is an amazing phenomenon that's happening. 40 million new people are coming into the market to trade, to invest in their futures. And we want to be at the forefront of that. We want to lead the pack. We want to be there to teach you, inspire you, motivate you, and take you on this ride because we love what we do. Every day for us is like playing in the Super Bowl. Okay? So dig this for a second. Today is Friday. It is coming into the market has been 7 weeks into 2024. After quite a turbulent number of years, right? 2023 was spectacular in very many ways. The tech sector has been over the top for a while now, but today we closed at a record high in the S&P 500, in the NASDAQ, in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, literally in every indice you have. Right, we've got financial data that has come out that's been a little bit of disappointment, CPI, and what else came out this week? CPI and PPI, right? But the market did just rebuffed it in every possible way. The day the CPI number came out, we did sell down almost 1,000 points, but we did not close on the low. This was the exception to the rule. Often when you have these big, huge sell-offs, if the market closes on the low, we do see a gap down the next day and a big follow-through on the sell side. No, that did not happen this time. At 3:55, 5 minutes before the close of business on the day the CPI number came out, which is an inflation number, it was a disappointment in a silly way. It was all about expectations. We came in at 3.1 as opposed to 2.9. I mean, please, everybody's got to get a grip. We're coming from 8 and change in the percentage of inflation, so we've come a long way. We reversed the market at 355 on that day, rallied 30 handles in the S&P, closed on an uptick, and the next days since then have been nothing but bullish, breaking through every landmark, every milestone within the marketplace. So I'm here with Dan. We have a new show called Einstein and Ives. We're going to celebrate our love of this industry. We're going to celebrate we're on a mission, right? We are on a mission to inspire and motivate everybody to get involved in this market, to invest in their future, to invest in stocks and not stuff. This is a groundbreaking time. This is a phenomenon. It's a friggin' revolution. We're here on Friday to give you a little insight to what today is. This is a groundbreaking day. NVIDIA, which is one of the greatest stocks in the marketplace, a year ago was trading at $108. It is one of the top names in the AI space. It is a major tech name, okay? 108 last year in February. Today closed at just short of $800. They had earnings this week that blew them out of the water. I need you to explain to me, what is so special about NVIDIA? How does it differentiate itself from other stocks in the AI space? Why is it where it is today? What were the biggest contributing factors to that rally in a year's time from 108 to 800? What does the future look like? And should we be at all fearful that the 7 stocks that took this market to where it is today, closing at a record high across the board, is there a possibility of a bubble? Should we be concerned that those 7 stocks took us up here? The whole tech sector was what was happening and what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's a great, really, introduction to where we are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back a year ago, if you said AI to the average investor, they had to look it up for Google to understand what was happening. NVIDIA, their chips, their GPUs, that's the foundation of generative AI. So in other words, generative AI, next generation data analytics, at the core, can happen without those golden chips. There's only one company in the world that makes them. It's NVIDIA, and that's why Jensen Huang is the godfather. CEO is the godfather of AI. And when you look at NVIDIA, what the stock, what the street maybe missed over the last year was underestimating that this is a company that has essentially raised guidance 2-3 billion every quarter for the last year. So now you're starting to see just what I view as the first step in this AI revolution. I view this as $1 trillion of incremental spend coming to tech over the next decade.
But not only into NVIDIA, obviously across the board. So give me the difference.
And just to put some numbers, for every dollar that's spent on an NVIDIA chip, GPU, the multiplier effect could be $10 to $12 to $15 across the rest of tech. What that means is Microsoft, Google, Amazon, MongoDB, Palantir. You look at names like software names like Salesforce, Adobe. This AI party, get the popcorn ready. It's just starting. And in my opinion, someone that covered tech stocks, going back to the late 90s, going through the dot-com bubble, and burst, this is nowhere near. We're talking about companies that generate more cash in some countries. Valuation would have to go up 5-6x to get to those points. And the most important thing is the monetization, the actual numbers. It's here. It's happening. It's not.
So this is not 2030, 2050. You're talking right now.
I'm talking, we are going through what is going to be a 2 to 3 year AI revolution. Unlike anything that we've seen, we call it, it's a 1995 moment, but it's not a 1999 moment. What I mean is, it's not a bubble for, we're in the beginning.
1995 was the beginning of the internet and everything that was going on out west, the whole explosion of the internet and that stuff. 99 was the burst of that bubble.
Exactly. So we are in a 95 moment, 999, and that's why we believe for the next 18, 24 months, in a soft landing macro, this is a tech bull market that's going to continue.
How did everybody get it so wrong? At $108, when people were calling for it at 108, people were telling you to sell the stock, and that was literally February of 2023.
I think many investors, and we talked to a lot of them throughout the period, they did not believe that AI was going to be a real thing.
Artificial intelligence.
Part of it, they essentially thought that this was something where it sounded great from a buzzword, but the use cases were not there. Where everything changed, when Microsoft essentially bought OpenAI, Sam Altman, that's where the whole thing changed. Because then, the scale of Microsoft deploying AI, that really was going to start.
So that was an endorsement. That was kind of like Elon Musk endorsing crypto for a minute or something.
Well, I would say it's not even just an endorsement. It was really the start. That was the foundation. 95% of enterprises where they reside, Microsoft. Now you combine NVIDIA, the godfather of AI Jensen, with Microsoft. That's the 1-2 punch that's essentially leading this AI revolution.
So as we understand AI, and you're talking about the chip that is made by NVIDIA, is that the chip that everybody else who's involved in AI has to buy? So not only are they at the forefront of AI in general, but they have the component. It's like, you think about Apple and what Apple does, but there are components inside the phone that are being made by some companies that people don't even know who makes what's inside that. Sometimes the value of those companies is even more powerful than the actual product itself. That's what we're looking at.
Look, if you go back to the gold rush, 1850s, the ones that sold the pick and shovel, they were the ones that's NVIDIA. And they are the only game in town.
Really? So explain to me the chip. Explain how that works. So we're talking about AI, and I think it's important for people to know, and I think people were scared of it very quickly on, right?
Sure,
if
from
you
a
think about it, they
ChatGPT.
called Congress in so early on in the game to think that this is a dangerous thing, and I think a lot of people still do. In the beginning, everybody thought, well, maybe it's a place where you go to write, a resume or to get a term paper done, and did not realize the case scenarios that you're talking about.
And also,
the
you talk
effects
about
on healthcare and consumer.
The consumer, like ChatGPT,
Right.
or many consumers use.
Right.
The actual monetization of AI for the next few years, it's the enterprise, companies, healthcare, financial. You go to eventually government. This is starting with enterprise, and then we're going to get to the consumer piece.
Okay, and so for the average person, there is a case scenario, right? Anybody can actually use AI for their daily experience, whether it's within healthcare, whether it's as a student going to school, whether it's any number of things like that. And so enterprise, for those of you who don't understand that part of it, is the corporate usage of the chip and of AI in general. We're talking healthcare. Imagine to be able, and we talked about this a little bit before, imagine to go to a doctor and God forbid you're diagnosed with cancer, and that gentleman is not going to be sitting there looking through Rolodex to kind of figure out who is the best doctor and what are the different scenarios that have happened before with this disease. They're going to be able to hit a couple of buttons and know every case that's been gone, whether successful or in failure around that disease and how it looks going forward. We're going to see it in finance. We're going to see it in absolutely everything.
I actually think it's going to change things in ways that we can't even
fathom at the moment.
Imagine.
Right.
And I think it goes back to, like, when you go back to the iPhone moment in 2007,
Right.
if someone told you in 2007 where we'd be in 2024, they'd say, you had a little too much alcohol at the bar, right?
Exactly.
Now, this is unleashing from a data perspective, from a use case perspective, something that we've basically never seen before. And that's why, going back to stocks,
Right.
some will say stocks are expensive, they've run too much. I view it as the growth opportunities are so much that we still see tech stocks up another 25-30%.
Okay. And so NVIDIA is the only one that makes this chip. Are there any other companies? Are there any more micro parts of
AMD is a good example.
Okay, advanced micro devices.
With Lisa Su, CPF, they will get into it.
Okay.
Intel will get into it. You look at like Taiwan Semi, which is really, I view from a foundational, one of the infrastructure plays. You look at SMCI,
Right.
That's another super micro, another one that plays in to this supply chain. Because it's not just about NVIDIA, it's about who else plays into that food chain.
Okay, so look, we're standing here at the crossroads of absolute wild madness. The stock's closed today, and this interview is not all about NVIDIA. It's about the revolution. It's about what the future looks like. And for those of you who were around back in the 80s, right, we used to watch the cartoon called The Jetsons, where everything was a robot. You used to be able to, everything was done microwave, forget about that. You used to have robots running around. You used to be able to take a little, like a hydro jetpack that'll take you to school and take you to work and all that kind of stuff. My friend Dan here told me that we're not looking at 2030 or 2050 for flying cars, that in 2025, we are actually going to be able to notice the difference significantly in our lives from what AI is bringing to the table.
And I think autonomous technology, by 2030, 5% of vehicles will be autonomous. When I mean full self-driving.
Right, full self-driving.
So, and when you think about AI, just going back to it, autonomous, full self-driving, that's AI.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
So when we talk about what's happening here, and you're such a you've seen for decades so many different things, and obviously bubbles and others.
Right.
This is different. This is really a revolution that maybe you could go back to.
The railroad.
You go back.
The railroad.
No, the railroad. And maybe the start of the internet.
Right.
And Model T.
Right.
Probably the only example from an industrial revolution. This is essentially a fourth industrial revolution.
Yes. That's so significant.
That's really what's playing out.
Yeah, okay. I love that. And that may be a reason why the stock market is trading at this incredibly, you may want to call it frothy, because when things get too far too fast, they may not be too far. They may just be far and fast, and that's what's happening when a revolution happens. So I want to talk to you, it's just so exciting, is you're telling me that, and we're talking to an expert. I am by far no expert. You are an expert at this, and I'm so confident when I let you tell these people that they have to have confidence in this sector, in this revolution, and I think it's so important. Everybody's sitting here looking at the stock market, the Dow at 39.2, up incredibly for the year already. We're only 7 weeks into 2024.
And we know Amazon's now in the Dow, finally.
Yeah, that's right. That's a new breakthrough. But look, all the indices are trading at record highs. So my fear is, and I think the other people's fear is, that the market's been taken up by the Magnificent Seven, the Fabulous Seven, all the high-tech stocks, the whole tech sector. You have to realize what took the market down in 2022 was the fact that we were on an aggressive interest rate raise, okay? And when that happens, tech is the one that suffers. Now we are on, that's over, and we are considering lowering it. So tech has been the one that took us up 2023 into 2024. Are you at all fearful that if this plateaus, so you're saying to me you're confident that this will continue, and there is a foundational, there is a hockey stick approach to the graph on this one?
And that's also why when we heard from the godfather of AI, Jensen,
CEO of NVIDIA,
it showed this is not going.
Okay, it's not parabolic. It's a hockey stick. It's going. Okay, how about the rest of the market? What else do you see being significant? Like if someone were to say to me, X, it's very hard for me at this point to spend $790 on NVIDIA,
sure,
right? Is there anywhere else I can get exposure in tech that I don't have to pay $800 a share?
That's when you look at names like MongoDB, Palantir,
okay,
Microsoft,
okay,
Snowflake, Salesforce.com, Adobe. Because now what's happening is you're essentially going from chips, right, to the software ecosystem.
Okay.
So if you now the key focus is who are the second, third, and fourth derivatives of this 1995 moment of this AI revolution.
Okay, awesome. All right, good. So look, I don't think we need to address it anymore. We're closing out a Friday, almost at the end of February. This has been a spectacular week at the stock exchange. The earnings blew out. There, look, the stock was trading in the 700s earlier in the week. People were fearful it was a buy the rumor, sell the news moment, because for some reason the stock that peaked out around 725 earlier in the week started to sell off radically coming into earnings, and that will often happen. We sold off almost 150 points. Was that a leak that people thought earnings weren't going to be good or whatnot? And then boom, that's why we always say don't get involved in a stock pre-earnings, because anything can happen in this market. A stock can come out with great earnings, great guidance, and go down $50, right? This stock did not do that. It hit on every piston. We blew out on earnings and guidance, and the stock is up $150 from then. NVIDIA is, look, I'm not recommending anything. Note to self, disclaimer, that's not what we're talking about. We're here to motivate, inspire you to do your own homework and to educate yourself about markets. It's a hard look. There's never no such thing as a bad market. There's a bad entry into the market. You need to do your own homework. You press your own buttons. I just want to share with you some of the genius, some of the experience, some of the actual huge global knowledge that Dan Ives has, and that's why we're collaborating with Einstein and Ives. It's going to be the greatest YouTube channel out there in history. This is going to take education, motivation, inspiration in the financial sector beyond any badge of magic. You are the man, baby. This is great. I love you.
Awesome.
There you go. We're off to the races. The beginning of the rest of your life. Check it out. And trade like Einstein for Money News Network. Giddy up. That's all I got to say about that. Cool.